everyone, it's Lauren, and it's that time again where I talk about the books that I'm planning to read in the very near future. I don't do monthly TBRs, I do quarterly TBRs, so this video is supposed to be about the books I'm planning to read, hoping to read, might read between April and June. So we're kind of near the end of April now, it's a little bit late, but you know, I think we'll live. We can deal with that, can't we? My life has got a little Kindle heavy recently. I think that's because like I read when I'm commuting, and like when you're reading on a train, if I finish a book on a Kindle, I can literally just start a new one. I never have to have a point in my life where I'm without a book. So even though I've got books at home that I want to read, if I finish one, I'm just like, I just start a new one straight away, and I'm just rolling through books on my Kindle really easily. So I was looking at my shelf earlier, and I've got so many books that I bought ages ago, and I just haven't even thought about reading because I've just been reading other stuff. So I thought, cool, I'll put a little pile together and then I'll have to read them. So the first one to show you is a couple of the books that I had in my previous upcoming reads video, which I didn't get to. And the first one is my nemesis, Cloud Atlas, which I didn't want to read. I was like, I need to read it. Well, I wanted to read it. I do want to read it. I just feel like I've got a thing in my head where I think this is going to be hard, and I have seen some videos recently where people talk about how they didn't like it. This is kind of a divisive book. I mean, like, and that makes it interesting. Like, I shouldn't just read something just because I think it's going to be easy. I'm definitely going to like it. I want to challenge myself a little bit. But, oh, it's just really thick. I was all like, put it in my TBR video last time, and then I'll have to read it. And that didn't work. So now I need to remind myself to read it because I want to try. Come on. I'll give it a go. And the next book that I did mention last time and I didn't actually get round to reading was Sputnik Sweetheart by Murakami, because I've not read any Murakami before, and I don't really know very much about this story or really about him as a writer, other than I hear that this is a good place to start. I do want to read this though, and I still want to read it, and hopefully I will get to it soon. Although I've been talking to people on here who've been reading Norwegian Wood, and I've been like, yeah, Norwegian Wood, I have that too, because I heard that was a good place to start with Murakami, so I'm going to read Norwegian Wood. And no, I don't have Norwegian Wood, I have Sputnik Sweetheart. They do look very similar. I mean, like, all the books look the same. So I'm really sorry if you're one of the people that I was like bonding over Norwegian Wood with, because I was lying to you. I actually own Sputnik Sweetheart. But you know, whatever. The next books I really want to get to soon are ones that featured in my beautiful book haul, which I'll link below if you want to go and see it, because why wouldn't you? Of course you would. And these are my 3 vintage classics short form feminist texts, and I realised I didn't say who they were published by last time. They're vintage classics is what they're published by Random House, and they're £4.99 each. I got mine on Amazon. They are extracts from classic feminist texts, and we have Mary Wollstonecraft's The Vindication of the Rights of Women, extracts from Second Sex, and Naomi Wolf's The Beauty Myth. So I just think that's going to be really interesting, and I just thought they were really pretty. But I mean, they'll be quick reads, and I am genuinely excited to read them. So get to those very soon, I hope. And this book has been on my shelf for ages, and I don't know why I've not got to it yet. And I have a very pretty copy, and it's Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. I think it's because I didn't really love The Catcher in the Rye. To be fair, I think it might have been good, like, if I'd studied it at school. I think it's just one of those books. It's one of those famous books, and everyone reads it and everyone says it's great. And I think when you have that pressure going into a book, you kind of think, oh, is this it? And I didn't really think about it too much. Oh, it's all shiny in my window. But I have heard really good things about Franny and Zoe. Again, I don't know too much about it, other than it's just one of them famous ones in it. And I would like to give Salinger another go, and I've just heard, you know, lots of people love it. It's not very long. It's about time I read it, I reckon. And this next one, I'm really excited to read. I don't know why I haven't really picked it up yet. I think it's to do with its size, to be honest, and the fact that I've been Kindled out in the last few weeks, and it's Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. I hated The Virgin Suicide, and you all know that. I've got a whole video about how much I hated it, but I did really love his writing, and I've genuinely not heard a bad word against this book. People in real life, people on here. It's about someone who is intersex, and I believe it's kind of not just about their lives, but also their sort of their family history, a bit of a family saga, and who doesn't love a family saga? And I want to give Eugenides another go, like Salinger. Maybe I'm just really mean to writers first time round, but I just have very high standards. The next 2 I want to read for very similar reasons, and that's because they are both by 2 of my favourite authors who I feel feel are completely underrated. I mean, they're not really. It's just that I feel like everyone should be talking about them all the time because they're amazing. And you know, okay, they have critical acclaim, but you know, that's not enough. The first one of these is Elena Ferrante, who wrote one of my all-time favourite books, The Days of Abandonment. She is an Italian author, and this book, My Brilliant Friend, is the first in a trilogy, I believe. I don't know if there's 4 books or if there's 3, called the Neapolitan novels. From what I understand of these novels, they follow the friendships of 2 women from kind of childhood and sort of throughout their lives. And one of the things that Ferrante does incredibly well, in my opinion, is write from the perspective of women in such an honest way, especially when it comes to things about motherhood, about women's places in society, their relationships with husbands, and kind of the pressures of those expectations. I just love her writing style. She's very one of those nothing really happens and yet everything happens kind of stories. They take place, I mean, the ones that I've read have taken place over a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and it's just very, very domestic. And yet it's about so much, and I mean, I just love that. I think these are a little bit different because obviously a bit more of a long saga kind of tale, but I'm really excited to get to this. When I find authors that I really like, I always try to have at least one book on my bookcase at all times by them that I haven't read yet, because then I just feel like I'm working my way through their sort of back catalogue, if you like, so that I'm trying to read everything. And another author that I'm trying to do that with is Suri Husvet, and I have The Enchantment of Lily Dahl here. The most recent book that I read by her was The Blazing World, which came out last year. It was longlisted for the Man Booker Prize. It's incredibly ambitious, incredibly intelligent. This is her second novel, so I imagine it's going to be a lot simpler than The Blazing World. You may also have heard of What I Loved, which is my favourite book by her. I think, or maybe it's just because it's the first one I read. I don't know, there's literally not been a book that I've read from her that I didn't like. I don't know anything about this, again, really, other than I just love her and I want to read everything she's ever written. She's written a collection of essays as well, and I'm just trying to work my way through her stuff. A lot of her writing centres about the art world and philosophy and, again, kind of women's place in society and that kind of thing. I'm such like a women's advocate, like seriously, I just feel like an ambassador. Everything I read is so like feminism. So those are all like the physical books that I just really feel I need to get to. The Kindle stuff kind of takes care of itself, like I've said, but one of the books I bought recently that I really, really want to get to soon is The Country of Ice Cream Star by Sandra Newman. This sounds so cool and so interesting and really different, and I'm just really excited to read it. The basic premise is that there's been an epidemic which kills you before you reach the age of 20. So the whole world is run by all of these feral children, and it's narrated by Ice Cream Star, and she talks in this sort of childlike, slangy future dialect, I think. I mean, when I looked it up, it sounds to me a little bit like A Clockwork Orange, where there's all these different slang terms which aren't explained to you, just kind of have to go with it and eventually work out what they're talking about. And I just think it sounds really fun and really interesting. So that's probably going to be one of the ones that I pick up very soon. Or not pick up, just kind of beep, and then it's there. So that's everything I've got for you today. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what one do you think I should read first, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! That women are encouraged more than men to aspire towards likability. If you have a man who's very powerful, very influential, people often say, you know, he's a go-getter, he's tough, but you know, I still respect him. He gets the job done. I also bought Matilda by Rob Dobb. Look how nice that is. Oh, they're going to make such a nice pair.